Okay, this is gonna be my video part two for my review of episodes 1 and 2 of Ahsoka. The first video cut out while I was recording, so I had to start over midway through. I ended off with Baylan Skoll and Shinhati and Morgan Elsbeth. I said Elizabeth multiple times in the first video. It's Morgan Elsbeth. When they're at the temple or the shrine where they deciphered the star map. So I talked about well, what I said in the first video. I'll just go over everything again. I was surprised that the Night Sisters had such a large group. I thought they were only on Darth but apparently they were, in the past, they were influential in the galaxy or spoke to people from other galaxies. So I wondered if the Jedi, if they, I don't remember them talking about Jedi ever going to another galaxy or speaking to people from other galaxies. So I was wondering how the Night Sisters, I guess because of their witchcraft and stuff, they were into more things and got to meet different people. But yeah, so I don't know. I just spoke about how the Jedi didn't seem to know that much about that time period whenever these star maps were being created and the pathway through between galaxies. Shin-Hati at this point, she seems like she is very untrusting. I put here she's giving off unsure, unconfident, even if you want to call it sad girl vibes, but not really. That was my first impression. She's definitely not happy, you know. But she's definitely untrusting of Morgan Elsbeth. She calls her a witch, and she asks what's gonna happen when they finally free Thrawn, Baylan, or save Thrawn when they get him back into this galaxy. Baylan says, for some people it will mean war, but for us it will mean power. This is once again reiterates that Baylan's not in it for a cause. He's not loyal to the Empire. He's just in it for money and power. And Shin just seems to be lost. She's following Baylan because, he's her master. He's all she has left. She probably doesn't know anybody else in the galaxy at this point. So that was interesting. I was wondering maybe she might have a change of heart later on in the series, but she doesn't seem like she's leaning towards the light side or good at all. She's just not really down with Morgan's plan. And she seems to be unsure, wondering about how things are going to turn out. So there's an interesting conversation that Sabine and Hurang have, where he talks about how she should train more with her lightsaber. She says it's Ezra's, but he's like, no, he gave it to you as your lightsaber. And she talks about how he talks about how she could join Ahsoka again, be her apprentice again. She's like, no, she abandoned me, she left me, so blah blah. And he mentions how she has the least force aptitude of any Padawan that he's ever met, which was very interesting to me, because it's clear that they're not just gonna, people complain about some characters. It's clear that she's not just gonna get intense force powers out of nowhere, but as we saw in the last battle, she was able to at least wield a lightsaber, but she can't just be a trained apprentice out of nowhere, somebody that's been training with their lightsaber for years, So that was an interesting conversation. So we talk about how at the shipyard, she arrives there. Hera's talking to the guy who runs it, the supervisor of the shipyard, and he's being a little incooperative, which brings up what I was talking about in last episode that the people, like, she's a general and he's talking about, oh, I don't really have time to be showing you around. Like, that's not the respect you should be giving a general. But it seemed like the people that were former empire, they don't respect the people that got their rank through being in the rebellion. So he decides to show them around because she's like, I can make this something more official, you know. And so he decides to show them around. They ask if people working there used to work for Morgan or were part of the empire, and he says yes. In every level of the New Republic government, there are people that were in the empire because, you know, to run a government, you need people that know how to run a government. To run the shipyards, you need the people that know what they're doing. So there's a lot of people from the empire that have roles in the New Republic, which incompetence, like I was saying. And so he says he's just a businessman. His loyalty is to the people paying him, to his stock shareholders. Um, so he goes and he shows them the records, and while they're looking at records, they see this huge engine. She says Hera notices like New Republic. They're saying that they're repurposing all of this stuff for New Republic ships, but the New Republic's defense force doesn't have any ships large enough to use that engine. He says that it's classified, and she's like, I'm a general, nothing's classified to me, unclassified. He's once again being incooperative. He tells the droid, like, hey, can you tell her like how it is. And while this is happening, they ask if I believe it was Ahsoka who asked if they had any assassin droids there. And he's like, assassin droids, HK? No, we don't have those. What we would need them for. She's like, sure, you didn't repurpose any to make, things run faster, run smoother. He's like, no. That's when the droid that he told them to tell them that the reports were classified. The droid says that they saw an assassin droid that had stopped them from cataloging some things, and he asks, oh, why wasn't this reported? She said the droid had higher ranking than me. I couldn't refuse. And so they ask, where's this droid at now? She says he's escaping. He's on that transporter right there. They tell the people, air traffic control, like, ground that ship right now. The lady's like, no, they're clear to leave. She's like, ground it right now. Once again, disobeying the general. She's like, ground it right now. She's like, oh, no. That's when the guy jumps up, another air traffic control person for the Empire, pulls his blaster. Ahsoka cuts off his hand. They get into a battle shootout. Hera's shooting people. Ahsoka's cutting them up. And then Ahsoka cuts open the window, jumps out, and begins chasing after the transport after telling Hera, get in the ship, get ready to chase him. I'm rushing a little because I went over all of this already and then the feed cut out. But so she gets into this, she's chasing after the ship, and then that is when she gets into a battle. She's intercepted by Merrick, who is the former Inquisitor, and another assassin droid. This was interesting to me that former Jedi and a Padawan are working together with a former Inquisitor, but that just goes to show, that whole time period is passed with the Jedi and the Inquisitors and all of